Picture this. You wake up on a Tuesday morning, your alarm screaming at you for the third time. Before your feet even touch the floor, your hand reaches for your phone like it's a reflex you can't control. 20 minutes vanish into scrolling through stories of people you barely know, living lives that make yours feel smaller. You tell yourself today will be different, that this is the day you finally break the pattern. You've got plans, ambitions, a mental list of everything you're going to accomplish. The energy feels real this time, almost electric. But here's what actually happens. By noon, you've already negotiated yourself out of half those promises. The gym becomes tomorrow, the difficult conversation gets postponed again, and that creative project sits untouched while you reorganize your desk for the fourth time this month. You've traded action for the illusion of productivity. By evening, you're deep in a YouTube rabbit hole watching someone else talk about discipline and success. The irony doesn't escape you, but somehow you can't stop. You fall asleep telling yourself tomorrow will be different, knowing deep down it probably won't be. Familiar? If you felt that description in your chest, you're not alone. Millions of people are trapped in this exact cycle, blaming themselves for lacking willpower or motivation. But here's what nobody tells you, what they can't tell you because they don't understand it themselves. Your brain isn't lazy. Your brain isn't broken or defective or weak. Your brain is actually a goddamn genius at keeping you alive. And that genius, that protective instinct buried deep in your neural wiring, is systematically destroying your potential. It's not doing this out of malice. It's doing this out of love, out of an ancient programming that believes keeping you small is the same thing as keeping you safe. There's a mechanism buried deep in your psychology, something cutting-edge psychologists and neuroscientists are calling the shadow safety protocol. It's not in the textbooks yet because we're only beginning to understand how sophisticated this self-sabotage really is. Your unconscious mind has built an entire fortress around your comfort zone, and it will defend that fortress with everything it has. Every time you get close to breaking through to the next level, your brain pulls the emergency brake. It manufactures distractions, amplifies doubts, creates sudden urgent problems that need your immediate attention. This isn't random. This is strategic warfare against your own evolution. Why does your mind do this? Because your nervous system has a perfect memory of every rejection you've ever faced, every failure that left you gutted, every moment of public humiliation that made you want to disappear. It has cataloged every wound and built its entire defense strategy around one simple premise: if you never try, you can never fail.
And somewhere along the way, your subconscious made a terrifying decision without consulting you. Visibility equals vulnerability. The more people see you, the more they can hurt you. So staying hidden, staying average, staying beneath your potential becomes a survival strategy. Let me tell you about Marcus, a guy I knew who spent 3 years methodically preparing for a management position. He took extra courses, stayed late, built relationships with executives, did everything right. The opportunity was finally within reach, and everyone knew he deserved it. Then something strange happened the week before his performance review. Marcus got into a heated argument with his boss over something completely trivial. Something about meeting schedules that could have been resolved with a simple email. The confrontation was so out of character that his colleagues were shocked. He didn't get the promotion. Was it bad luck, just terrible timing, or maybe his boss was unreasonable? That's what Marcus told himself for months, nursing his resentment like a badge of honor. But here's the truth that took him 2 years of therapy to understand. His unconscious mind saw that promotion as a direct threat to his safety. More responsibility meant more visibility, more chances to fail publicly, more expectations he might not meet. So his brain, that protective genius, manufactured a conflict to sabotage the opportunity before it could expose him to that danger. His mind chose the familiar pain of being overlooked over the unfamiliar terror of being seen. And the brilliant part? It did this so smoothly that Marcus never even realized he was sabotaging himself. This is the invisible war happening inside you every single day. A conflict so subtle, you mistake it for personality. One part of you reaches for growth, while another part sets landmines on the path. You are simultaneously the hero and the villain in your own story. Your conscious mind sets ambitious goals and makes exciting plans. Meanwhile, your subconscious mind is 3 steps ahead, already plotting how to undermine everything. It's not evil. It's terrified of what success might cost you. You want the relationship. You crave genuine intimacy and connection. But watch what happens when someone actually gets close. You pick fights over nothing, you suddenly notice flaws you can't tolerate, or you create emotional distance right when vulnerability is required. Your mind whispers that they'll leave eventually anyway, so why not control when and how it happens? You want the body. You can visualize exactly how you'll look and feel when you're in shape. But the night before you start your new diet and exercise routine, you binge on everything you're about to give up. Or you start strong for 3 days, then mysteriously lose all motivation right when the habit is about to stick.
You want the business, the creative project, the thing that could change your life, but you spend 6 months perfecting the logo, agonizing over the website design, researching competition until you're paralyzed by information. You do everything except the one thing that matters, putting your work in front of actual people who could reject it. This isn't weakness, and you need to understand that deeply. This isn't a character flaw or a lack of discipline. This is your survival system doing exactly what millions of years of evolution designed it to do. The problem is that your brain is running software from 10,000 years ago, from an era when the threats were completely different. Back then, your ancestors lived in small tribes where social cohesion meant survival. Standing out could get you exiled, and exile meant death. Being average, being invisible, blending into the group wasn't a limitation back then. It was a legitimate survival strategy. If you were too ambitious, too different, too vocal about your ideas, the tribe might cast you out. And being alone in a world full of predators was a death sentence that usually came swiftly and violently. Your brain still thinks you live in that world, still operates as if social rejection equals physical death. So when you try to level up, when you attempt to become visible and claim your potential, your ancient programming starts screaming danger signals through your entire nervous system. The anxiety you feel isn't irrational. It's your brain trying to save your life from a threat that no longer exists. And when that alarm goes off, your brain deploys what I call the comfort spiral, a devastating psychological trap that's almost impossible to escape once you're caught in it. It works like this. You feel anxious about growth and change. So naturally, you seek comfort in the habits and patterns that feel safe and familiar. Those comfortable habits keep you exactly where you are, which creates a deeper anxiety about not growing, not progressing, not becoming who you know you could be. That mounting anxiety makes you crave even more comfort, even stronger distractions. The spiral tightens like a noose, and each rotation makes escape harder. You end up in this bizarre situation where you're simultaneously desperate for change and terrified of it. You consume content about transformation while actively avoiding the actions that would transform you. You fantasize about the future while clinging to the past. You're stuck in psychological limbo, and it's exhausting.
Let me tell you about Jessica, a woman who kept dating the same archetype of emotionally unavailable man with almost mathematical precision. Every relationship would start with intense chemistry and exciting potential. Every single time, she'd tell her friends with absolute conviction, "This one's different, I can feel it." But 3 months in, like clockwork, the same patterns would emerge. He'd start pulling away, become busy with work, stop initiating plans, respond to her texts hours later with one-word answers. And Jessica would find herself in that familiar hell of wondering what she did wrong, analyzing every conversation for clues, slowly losing herself trying to win back someone who was never fully present to begin with.
After the 5th time this happened, her therapist asked her a question that changed everything. "Jessica, what would actually happen if you met someone who was emotionally available and ready for real commitment?" The question hung in the air like a challenge. Jessica went completely silent for almost a minute, her face cycling through emotions. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. "I'd have to be emotionally available too." The realization hit her like a physical force, and that terrified her infinitely more than another failed relationship with another unavailable man, because real intimacy meant real risk, meant being fully seen with all her flaws and wounds and messy humanity. Her mind had chosen familiar pain over unfamiliar vulnerability, because at least with familiar pain, you know exactly what you're dealing with. The devil you know becomes the devil you protect, the devil you unconsciously seek out and invite into your life repeatedly. Your comfort zone isn't comfortable because it feels good. It's comfortable because it's predictable, because you've survived it before, and your brain believes you can survive it again. This pattern shows up everywhere once you learn to see it. That friend who complains about being broke but sabotages every job opportunity with lateness or attitude. The person who says they want a partner but finds fatal flaws in everyone who shows interest. The entrepreneur who has brilliant ideas but never launches because nothing is quite ready yet. They're not lazy or stupid or cursed with bad luck. They're locked in a battle between who they want to become and who their nervous system insists they need to remain. And the nervous system is winning because it controls the emotional infrastructure of your life. Your brain has learned that certain emotions signal danger: the anxiety of being judged, the vulnerability of being seen, the uncertainty of new situations, the discomfort of not knowing if you'll succeed. So it does everything in its power to help you avoid those emotions, even if avoiding them means avoiding your entire future. This is why you can know exactly what you need to do and still not do it. Information isn't the problem. Implementation is. And implementation requires you to feel uncomfortable emotions that your entire system is designed to help you escape. Think about the last time you were about to do something that mattered, something that could genuinely change your trajectory. Maybe it was sending that message, making that call, posting that content, having that difficult conversation. Remember that feeling right before you were about to do it? Your heart started racing. Your palms got sweaty. Your mind suddenly flooded with reasons why now wasn't the right time. That wasn't intuition warning you of real danger. That was your safety protocol activating. And chances are, you listened to it. You backed down, told yourself you'd do it later when you felt more ready, and felt immediate relief.
That relief is the trap. Every time you avoid discomfort and feel that relief, you're training your brain that the discomfort was genuinely dangerous. You're reinforcing the exact pattern that's keeping you stuck. You're essentially teaching yourself that your dreams are threats to your safety. So the cycle continues. Opportunity appears, anxiety spikes, you retreat, relief floods in, and your brain logs another data point confirming that staying small keeps you safe. Month after month, year after year, the evidence accumulates until your comfort zone becomes a prison you've built so carefully that you can't even see the bars anymore. The cruelest part is that this prison doesn't feel like confinement. It feels like identity. You start telling yourself stories about who you are. I'm just not the type of person who does that. Or that's not realistic for someone like me. These aren't truths about your nature. They're defense mechanisms disguised as self-awareness. You build an entire personality around your limitations. Create a self-concept that justifies never having to face your fears. And everyone around you reinforces it because they're trapped in their own versions of the same prison. They'll tell you to be realistic, to play it safe, to be grateful for what you have. They call it wisdom, but it's just shared captivity. Here's what makes this even more insidious. Your brain is so sophisticated that it makes self-sabotage look like external circumstances. You don't think, I'm sabotaging myself. You think the timing isn't right, or they don't appreciate me, or the system is rigged. Your mind gives you plausible explanations that protect your ego while keeping you exactly where you are. David had been working on a book for 7 years, talking about it at every dinner party, describing the impact it would have, but the manuscript never got past the editing phase because he kept finding problems with the editing phase. The structure wasn't quite right, the voice wasn't authentic enough, the market had shifted. Every critique was valid on the surface, but the truth underneath was simple and devastating. As long as the book remained unpublished, it remained perfect in potential. The moment he released it into the world, it would be judged, criticized, maybe ignored completely. His brain preferred eternal potential over actual execution because potential can't fail, can't be rejected, can't prove that maybe he wasn't as talented as he hoped. So how do you actually break the cycle? How do you escape a trap that's literally built into your neurology? You stop fighting your brain and start reprogramming it through deliberate, strategic discomfort. You prove to your nervous system that growth doesn't equal death by surviving small acts of courage repeatedly. You take micro actions that trigger your safety protocol but aren't big enough to send you into full retreat. You post the thing before you're ready. You have the conversation before you've rehearsed every word. You start before you feel confident. Each time you do this and survive, and you will survive, you create new data for your brain to analyze. You teach your nervous system that visibility doesn't mean annihilation, that vulnerability doesn't always lead to devastation, that the discomfort of growth is temporary, but the pain of remaining stuck is permanent.
This isn't about positive thinking or manifestation or pretending you're not afraid. This is about methodical exposure therapy that you design for yourself. You're literally rewiring the neural pathways that have kept you trapped, building new highways in your brain that lead toward expansion instead of contraction. The person you're becoming is worth more than the comfort you're clinging to, but your brain won't believe that until you prove it through action. Words, plans, intentions, they mean nothing to your nervous system. Only behavior creates change at this level. Start noticing when the safety protocol activates. Feel that anxiety spike before you do something meaningful. That's your signal that you're on the right path. The things that scare you aren't warnings to turn back. They're arrows pointing toward your evolution. Every day you get to choose. Do you listen to the ancient programming that wants to keep you small and safe? Or do you honor the part of you that knows you're capable of so much more? Do you let the shadow safety protocol run your life? Or do you become the conscious architect of your own transformation? The war inside you doesn't end, but you can change which side wins. You can train yourself to move toward fear instead of away from it, to see discomfort as data instead of danger.
to recognize self-sabotage in real time and choose differently. Because here's the final truth that nobody wants to hear. You are not a victim of your psychology. You are its author. Every pattern, every limitation, every fear-based decision has been reinforced by thousands of small choices you've made. Which means you have the power to make different choices, to write a different story, to become someone your current self wouldn't even recognize. The question isn't whether you're capable of change. The question is whether you're willing to be uncomfortable enough, long enough, to prove to your terrified brain that the life you want is safer than the life you're hiding in. That answer determines everything.